The Dallas Cowboys have made a notable roster move that has fans talking, analysts debating, and the entire NFL community paying attention. In a move that might not send shockwaves through the league, but definitely carries real implications for the team's depth and defensive outlook. The Cowboys have signed veteran cornerback Michael Ojemudia. For many, this name rings a bell, not because he's been a Pro Bowler or household name, but because of his journey through the league, and now his shot at redemption in a system where he might finally find his fit. This signing comes at a crucial moment. The Cowboys' secondary has been riddled with injuries over the past few weeks. From starters to depth players, the cornerback room has been thin, raising eyebrows about whether the team would address the problem before their preseason finale, and, more importantly, before final roster cuts. With players like Trayvon Diggs still recovering from injury and other corners like Josh Butler, Kalen Carson, Christian Matthew, and Bruce Harmon either injured or failing to stand out in camp, the need for reinforcement was obvious. The Cowboys have had to rely on younger and less experienced players such as Andrew Booth, Troy Pride, Kevin Hall, Zion Childress, and Israel Mukuamu during this stretch. While each of those players brings some unique upside, none provide the combination of experience and scheme familiarity that Ojemudia offers. The signing itself didn't come out of nowhere either. Ojemudia has been on the NFL radar since being drafted in the third round by the Denver Broncos in 2020 out of Iowa. His rookie season showed real promise playing in all 16 games and starting 11. He put up 62 tackles, defended 6 passes, and even forced 4 fumbles. For a rookie corner, those are impressive numbers, suggesting a player with physicality, awareness, and a nose for the football. However, like many young corners, the trajectory didn't go as expected. Injuries began to chip away at his momentum. By 2021, his role with the Broncos had diminished significantly, especially with Denver bringing in stars like Patrick Surtain, Ronald Darby, and Kyle Fuller. Ojemudia found himself deeper and deeper down the depth chart, and despite flashes in limited action, he could never regain the consistent playing time that he had in his first season. By 2022, he was waived by Denver and landed briefly with the Chicago Bears, which is significant because their defensive coordinator at the time, Matt Eberflus, is now on the Cowboys staff. That connection may have played a role in Dallas, giving him another look. Coaches tend to favor players familiar with their schemes, and Ojemudia knows what's expected of him in a similar defensive system. His journey didn't stop there. He would bounce around, spending time on practice squads, like the Los Angeles Rams in 2023, then signing a futures deal with the Arizona Cardinals in early 2024. But once again, things didn't quite stick. He was released before training camp and left without an NFL home as the season approached. That's when the UFL came calling, and for many players like Ojemudia, the UFL has become a legitimate avenue to showcase talents and prove readiness for another shot in the NFL. Playing for the DC Defenders in 2025, Ojemudia was solid, if not spectacular. He totaled over 20 tackles, grabbed an interception, and held opposing quarterbacks to just over 53% completion in coverage. While the UFL isn't the NFL, his performance showed that he still has gas in the tank, and perhaps more importantly, he played healthy, aggressive football in a championship environment, helping the Defenders win the UFL title. That championship experience, modest as it may be, is something the Cowboys can value in a player trying to claw his way back into the NFL. It speaks to mental toughness, resilience, and the ability to contribute in meaningful moments, qualities any team can use, especially one with playoff ambitions like Dallas. Now, with his signing official, Ojemudia joins the Cowboys at a time when every practice, every rep, and every snap matters. With the final preseason game just days away and final roster cuts looming, the window to make an impression is small, but not impossible. And the Cowboys haven't ruled out anyone who can provide value. In fact, this signing may serve multiple purposes. For one, Ojemudia adds immediate depth to a dangerously thin position. With injuries piling up, Dallas simply needs bodies guys who can line up, play man or zone, and not get torched by opposing offenses. That's not to say he's a guaranteed contributor, but he gives the Cowboys insurance in a position where they couldn't afford to be without it. Second, there's the scheme familiarity. Having played under Eberflus in Chicago, he knows what the Cowboys' defensive staff wants. That reduces the learning curve significantly. In a system that can be complex and places a lot of demands on defensive backs, especially in zone-heavy looks and hybrid coverages, any edge in understanding is huge. He can pick up terminology, play calls, and assignments faster than someone new to the system. And finally, it's a no-risk, potential-reward kind of signing. Ojemudia's deal is likely league minimum, possibly non-guaranteed, and gives the team full flexibility. If he shines in the next few practices or during the preseason finale, he could make the 53-man roster or be stashed on the practice squad. If not, the team can move on with minimal downside. Either way, it gives the Cowboys an experienced, hungry player with NFL reps under his belt and a chip on his shoulder. The reaction to the signing has been mixed, which is expected. Some fans are excited, remembering his rookie year, and hopeful that a change of scenery and a better fit can revive his career. Others see it as a stopgap movie, filling in with a guy who hasn't played a regular season snap since 2022. But the truth probably lies somewhere in the middle. He isn't being brought in to save the season, but he also isn't just camp filler. He has a real chance to earn his way onto the roster, especially if others ahead of him can't get healthy in time. The Cowboys are clearly open to giving UFL players a chance, and with other success stories making the leap this year, this move fits a pattern. It also shows a team that's staying proactive. Instead of waiting for another injury to force their hand, they're trying to stabilize a weak spot before it becomes a bigger issue. That kind of front office awareness can be the difference between a playoff team and one that crumbles under roster strain. For Ojemudia, this is a lifeline. This is the kind of opportunity that players dream about when they're out of the league, training on their own, waiting for the phone to ring. It's a shot at redemption, and given everything he's been through from a strong start in Denver to bouncing around the league and proving himself in the UFL, he's no stranger to adversity. The question now is whether he can rise above it. The upcoming preseason finale will be his audition. Fans should watch closely if he gets playing time. How does he move? Is he aggressive in run support? Can he stay with quicker receivers in man coverage? Does he understand where to be in zone and communicate well with the safeties? All of these little things will factor into whether the Cowboys decide he's worth keeping around. And if nothing else, his presence adds competition. He pushes the other corners, fighting for a spot. Iron sharpens iron, as they say, and in training camp battles, sometimes that edge makes all the difference. Cowboys Nation will be watching. Not just to see if Michael Ojemudia makes the team, but to see how this coaching staff handles one of the more unstable position groups on the roster. They'll be watching to see whether this move is just a band-aid or a potential spark for a secondary that has shown promise but needs depth. They'll be watching to see if the UFL pipeline continues to be a viable source of talent, and perhaps most importantly, whether this team is serious about turning over every stone to build a championship-caliber roster For now, Michael Ojemudia is a Dallas Cowboy. Whether he'll still be one a month from now depends on what happens next. But one thing's for sure, he's got the experience, the physical tools, and now the opportunity. All that's left is to make it count. And if he does, this could go down as one of those sneaky good signings